I speak to you today with feelings of profound sorrow.
The royals own me.
Everything began with Meghan Markle's
Harry
ruthless
owes me.
declaration of total exclusion against
owes-
both grandfathers,
Since the
King
interview-
Charles III and Thomas Markle, igniting a tense head-on confrontation. Exploiting the media to portray herself as a devoted mother, protecting her children, Meghan was in reality concealing bold schemes and audacious financial demands aimed directly at Buckingham Palace. The covert battle fought through email quickly spiraled beyond anyone's control as confidential information leaked, unleashing a wave of explosive rumors surrounding the alleged fake pregnancy from years ago and the true parentage of the two children. Meghan's arrogance collided with the full force of King Charles III's fury, driving the royal family toward complete fragmentation under a series of unprecedentedly ruthless punishments. Will Meghan's plot to profit from royal titles succeed, or will she ultimately suffer a devastating punishment and a total collapse beneath the supreme authority of the king? Over the past several days, shocking headlines have dominated the front pages of newspapers, large and small, as well as every major media outlet. At the center of the public's attention stood the deeply heartbreaking and lonely situation of Thomas Markle. In the twilight of his life, while confronting old age and steadily declining health, the man has been forced to endure the most isolated and sorrowful chapter of his existence. The reason is painfully simple. He has been completely cut off from all contact and has not been given a single opportunity to meet or embrace his two grandchildren, Archie and Lilibet. The image of a father and grandfather being rejected by his own daughter and denied the right to be a grandfather during the final years of his life quickly ignited an intense wave of public debate. From Thomas Markle's bitter story, the public and international media immediately drew parallels to a similar reality unfolding elsewhere. Countless questions, analytical articles, and discussions across social media began zeroing in directly on the British royal family. People repeatedly asked whether behind the walls of that magnificent palace, the senior members of the monarchy were also feeling lonely, empty, and heartbroken. After all, the world's most prestigious royal family now appeared to be enduring the same painful fate of division and separation. The estrangement of Harry and Meghan's family was no longer viewed as merely their personal tragedy. It had become a visible emotional wound for grandfathers and fathers throughout Britain. Facing relentless and overwhelming pressure from both public opinion and the media, King Charles III could no longer remain silent. In an official statement, the king spoke directly to clarify the palace's position. He firmly declared that the rift and the growing distance between the families had always been shaped and influenced by both sides, not by any one individual alone. King Charles III emphasized that the royal family would carefully and thoroughly consider every aspect of the situation to ensure that any resolution would be both fair and compassionate. At the same time, the king delivered a resolute declaration that the monarchy would unquestionably protect the greater good and would never allow himself or any of his descendants to suffer injustice or be placed at a disadvantage under any circumstances. Will Meghan remain silent in the face of the king's declaration, or will she immediately seize this opportunity to strike back and impose an absolute ban on both grandfathers? Immediately after King Charles III's statement was broadcast across the media, Meghan Markle recognized it as a golden opportunity to shift the tide of public opinion which had been turning against her. Refusing to allow herself to remain on the defensive amid growing criticism over tearing her family apart, she swiftly launched a forceful response to protect both her reputation and her public image. Speaking to the press with unwavering confidence, Meghan openly declared that every decision she had made stemmed from the sacred bond of motherhood. She insisted that her only goal was to absolutely protect the emotional well-being of her two young children, Archie and Lilibet, keeping them far away from toxic media scandals, while also shielding them from the deep emotional wounds that could be passed down from one generation to the next. To reinforce her position and redirect public scrutiny toward Buckingham Palace, Meghan did not hesitate to publicly criticize the years she spent as a member of the British royal family. The Duchess of Sussex laid bare what she described as its bitter realities with exceptionally sharp words. Back when I was still part of the royal family, it was the king's harsh and outdated rules, along with those imposed by other senior members, that created an oppressive and bullying environment for me. They pushed me into a corner and isolated me within my own home. Most heartbreaking of all, even after Archie was born, the royal family's coldness and discriminatory attitude never changed. That innocent child received neither the welcome nor the protection he deserved from the royal household. Their cruelty and indifference became the final straw, leaving me with no choice but to walk away in order to save my little family. To support Meghan's accusations that life inside the palace had been an oppressive and bullying environment rather than empty rhetoric, a former staff member who had worked closely with her during her time within the royal family also stepped forward to speak publicly. The individual affirmed that everything Meghan had experienced was entirely true. I witnessed firsthand what happened behind the palace doors during that period. The unwritten rules and invisible pressure from senior members truly suffocated Meghan. They monitored her every move, controlled every word she spoke, and imposed standards so strict they became unreasonable. Even while she was pregnant with Archie and struggling through a serious emotional crisis, not a single member of the family stepped forward to protect or support her. The king's coldness and the suffocating royal regulations turned the life of a new daughter-in-law into a genuine ordeal of isolation and psychological bullying. Her decision to leave at the time was nothing less than an act of self-preservation. The support from the former staff member only strengthened Meghan's confidence. On that basis, she officially announced an uncompromising and extraordinarily firm decision, an absolute ban preventing Archie and Lilibet from meeting or having any form of contact with either of their grandfathers, King Charles III on their father's side, or Thomas Markle on their mother's side. The declaration became an impenetrable wall, shutting down every remaining hope of reconciliation for both sides of the family. However, as someone who carefully calculated every move in the media, Meghan did not completely eliminate every possible opportunity. Even within her uncompromising declaration, she deliberately left herself a carefully calculated path of retreat by implying that the decision was not necessarily permanent. If the British royal family genuinely wished to see the children and was willing to bow its head and accept the demands and conditions she had set forth, then the entire course of the story could take a dramatically different direction. In doing so, Meghan simultaneously portrayed herself as a devoted mother, protecting her children while skillfully shifting the burden of responsibility back onto Buckingham Palace, forcing King Charles III to make the next move. Faced with Meghan's arrogance and her list of demanding conditions, how will King Charles III respond when he contacts her directly by email to clarify exactly what she is asking for? Witnessing Meghan Markle's arrogant, defiant attitude and the thinly veiled demands she continued to broadcast through the media, King Charles III could no longer remain patient. The monarch's tolerance had finally reached its limit after seeing his daughter-in-law use the two children as bargaining chips to pressure and manipulate the British royal family. Unwilling to let an increasingly public dispute further damage the dignity of the nation, the king decided to take the initiative. He personally drafted and sent an official email to Montecito demanding that Meghan clearly explain the true intentions behind her deliberately ambiguous public statements. In the email, King Charles III wrote in an exceptionally serious and straightforward tone, "Meghan, I have followed your recent public statements very closely. The British royal family has always been willing to act in the best interests of the children, but we will not accept vague negotiations conducted through the media. I am writing this email to ask you to clarify one point. What exactly are the demands and conditions you expect the royal family to accept in exchange for allowing the children to see their family? I expect a direct and specific answer here." Upon receiving the email from Buckingham Palace, Meghan showed neither fear nor hesitation. On the contrary, she viewed it as a valuable opportunity to apply direct pressure on the head of the monarchy and force him to yield to the conditions she had established. Meghan promptly drafted her response bluntly, sending back a list of extraordinarily bold demands without the slightest restraint. Your Majesty King Charles III, my position has always been consistent, but everything is negotiable if the interests of my children and me are adequately protected.
The royals only.
I require the British royal family to
Harry
immediately
owes me.
commit to providing substantial, regular, and
Meghan
guaranteed
owes.
financial support
Since
to
you-
ensure our livelihood and security
I had
in the
no-
United States.
no way of contacting
Furthermore,
them.
Buckingham Palace must implement legal and media measures to fully protect my personal title reputation and those of my children from every external attack. If these minimum demands are not fully guaranteed in writing, there will be no family reunion whatsoever. Reading the response filled with blatant pragmatism and what appeared to be outright extortion, King Charles III was both stunned and furious. His anger erupted so intensely that he could no longer maintain his usual composure. The king immediately rejected the demands, outright slamming his hand on the table in rage. This is utterly arrogant and completely unacceptable. She dares to use the children to bargain with the royal family for money and royal status. These demands are nothing but unreasonable, greedy, and utterly shameless. The British royal family will never bow to such blatant threats and extortion. I categorically reject every one of her demands. There will be no financial support whatsoever, and no privilege will ever be traded in such a disgraceful manner. Yet the escalating conflict behind closed doors did not end there. Only a short time after this confrontation, through email, detailed information about the secret negotiations, including the contents of Meghan's email demanding financial support, was unexpectedly leaked and rapidly circulated. The revelation immediately triggered a massive media earthquake. Across social media platforms, public outrage erupted in wave after wave of criticism directed squarely at Meghan. However, the storm of public opinion did not stop at condemning what many perceived as her greed. Instead, it took an even more shocking and devastating turn. A flood of explosive rumors questioning the origins of Archie and Lilibet began spreading at extraordinary speed. Numerous online posts and analyses from social media users repeatedly pointed to what they considered unusual details. Take a close look at the two children. As they're growing up, they seem to have far too many physical features that bear little or no resemblance to Harry. Is there something being concealed here? Are Archie and Lilibet truly King Charles III's biological grandchildren who carry royal blood? At the same time, the growing wave of suspicion intensified as internet users began digging up old photographs and videos from Meghan Markle's pregnancies years earlier. Clips showing her baby bump seemingly changing shape and size under unusual circumstances, appearing to shrink or expand unnaturally whenever she bent over or moved, were shared across social media at an astonishing rate. Allegations surrounding the so-called fake pregnancy bump resurfaced with renewed intensity, accompanied by sensational theories claiming that Meghan had not actually carried or given birth to the two children herself. Social media became consumed by unprecedented suspicion, plunging the relationship between Montecito and Buckingham Palace into the deepest and most comprehensive crisis it had ever faced. Faced with explosive rumors about royal bloodlines and the alleged fake pregnancy reigniting across social media, how will King Charles III respond as both his suspicion and his fury reach their breaking point? The flood of conflicting public opinions and the wave of explosive rumors spreading at lightning speed across every social media platform did not escape the attention of Buckingham Palace. To King Charles III, this crisis had gone far beyond the boundaries of an ordinary family dispute or Meghan's previous financial demands. The growing allegations that Archie and Lilibet had not actually been carried by Meghan herself, combined with detailed online analyses, highlighting what many claimed were striking physical differences between the children, and Prince Harry had become a direct assault on the honor, dignity, and legitimacy of the British royal bloodline. Seated in his private study, watching internet users relentlessly dissect and circulate old images of the alleged fake pregnancy bump, King Charles III felt an overwhelming surge of anger, accompanied by the deepest suspicions he had ever experienced. He could no longer tolerate seeing the reputation of the royal family turned into a spectacle for public ridicule, nor could he accept the growing uncertainty surrounding the royal bloodline. Faced with what he viewed as an extraordinarily critical moment, the king understood that he had no choice but to take the strongest and most uncompromising disciplinary action to restore order. With no room left for leniency, he summoned his closest advisors and officially issued a resolute declaration, recorded and released in an exceptionally cold and unwavering tone. The patience and goodwill of both myself and the British royal family have reached their absolute limit. I hereby officially declare that from this moment forward, the royal family will completely sever every channel of communication with Meghan. There will be no direct or indirect contact of any kind. We will close every avenue of dialogue and cease accepting any information or reports concerning her life or the affairs of her children in Montecito. From this day forward, every door of Buckingham Palace is officially closed to that woman. Determination and authority were unmistakable in King Charles III's eyes as he continued to address what he regarded as the most fundamental issue of all, the line of succession to the throne. The very matter Meghan had repeatedly sought to use as leverage in pursuit of economic privileges. The British royal family is a sacred symbol of this nation, and the royal bloodline must always remain unquestionably legitimate and beyond reproach. In light of the grave and deeply disturbing allegations now spreading widely among the public, I have reached the following decision: the royal family will suspend and withhold recognition of Archie and Lilibet's succession rights unless a clear medical investigation is conducted to verify and conclusively prove that the rumors circulating across social media are entirely false. We cannot and we will never grant the highest royal privileges to individuals who remain at the center of such profound public doubt. The king paused briefly. His expression hardened, projecting the unquestionable authority of a sovereign as he delivered one final warning, prepared to strip away what he viewed as his daughter-in-law's last remaining media weapon. I wish to deliver my sternest warning to Meghan: remember your place. If you continue to exploit children, to issue threats, engage in blatant extortion, or deliberately fabricate further claims that damage the honor and reputation of the British royal family, I am fully prepared to sign a royal decree permanently stripping you and your children of every noble title you currently hold. The British royal family is not a place for you to pursue selfish ambitions. This is my final declaration. King Charles III's landmark statement struck like a bolt of lightning, leaving Meghan Markle with no path of retreat. By severing every remaining line of communication and making the verification of royal bloodlines a prerequisite for succession rights, the king completely reversed the balance of power, stripping Meghan of every advantage she had painstakingly tried to build through her public interviews. Buckingham Palace had chosen direct confrontation, wielding the full weight of royal authority to crush every demand and push this conflict toward an irreversible conclusion. Faced with a devastating punishment that threatened to strip away both her wealth and her status at the hands of King Charles III, how will Meghan descend into total collapse, and how will the global online community react to this dramatic outcome? Buckingham Palace's uncompromising decision and its series of ironclad punitive declarations were swiftly broadcast around the world, triggering a media earthquake of extraordinary magnitude. Faced with this direct, devastating, and merciless blow from King Charles III, Meghan Markle descended into complete emotional collapse and overwhelming despair. Every carefully calculated strategy and every meticulously planned media campaign she had spent so long constructing seemed to vanish in an instant beneath the supreme authority of the head of the British royal family. Inside the Montecito mansion, the atmosphere was consumed by panic, an almost unbearable silence, and helpless tears. Meghan had never imagined that rather than yielding to her threat of cutting the grandchildren off from the family, King Charles III would choose such a direct and uncompromising confrontation. The complete severing of every line of communication with the royal family meant she had lost the single most valuable connection, sustaining both her media influence and her international standing. More devastating still was the king's decision to suspend Archie and Lilibet's succession rights until the questions surrounding their lineage were conclusively resolved together, with his warning that all noble titles could be permanently stripped away if she continued issuing threats or spreading fabricated claims. It was the ultimate blow, striking at the very foundation of the last
royals
weapon
only.
she still possessed, the royal name
Harry
and the
owes
future
them.
of her children. Meghan's suffering and
Meghan
collapse stemmed
Since
not
the
only
end-
from losing the economic privileges
I
and
had
substantial
no-
financial support she had long hoped to secure, but also from the profound humiliation of seeing her personal plans exposed before the entire world. She realized that she had completely misjudged the palace's limits of tolerance. The confidence and arrogance that had once defined her had now vanished entirely, replaced by overwhelming uncertainty as she confronted a bleak future in which she no longer had the protection of a royal title, no longer had access to royal financial support, and was forced to bear the heavy burden of public suspicion regarding the legitimacy of her children's royal status. While Meghan endured the devastation of complete collapse in isolation and despair, public reaction across the world unfolded in an entirely different direction. Throughout social media platforms, discussion forums, and the comment sections beneath international news reports, countless voices united in expressing overwhelming support for King Charles III's firm and decisive response. Millions of interactions poured in as supporters and neutral observers alike endorsed what they viewed as the king's comprehensive handling of the crisis. An incredibly wise and timely decision by the king. The British royal family is a symbol of national honor, not a marketplace where Meghan can use her children as hostages to bargain, make demands, and extort benefits for her own personal interests. Many others openly criticized Meghan's arrogance and agreed that this bitter outcome was the inevitable consequence of years of actions they believed had divided the family. The royal family has been far too patient with her for years. King Charles III's ultimatum, demanding verification of the royal bloodline and warning of the removal of titles, is absolutely justified. Someone who repeatedly attacks, fabricates stories about, and tarnishes her husband's family should never continue enjoying the privileges and financial benefits associated with that same royal family. Full support for the king's efforts to restore the reputation of the monarchy. The overwhelming unity and support from the public demonstrated that many people believed they had finally seen through Meghan's media tactics. Her repeated portrayal of herself as a mother protecting her children's emotional well-being, along with her long-standing accusations of oppression and bullying, no longer carried the persuasive power they once had. Instead of receiving sympathy as she had on previous occasions, Meghan now found herself confronted by widespread public rejection. The prolonged battle over royal authority and media influence had finally reached its conclusion, ending in an overwhelming victory for Buckingham Palace. While Meghan was left utterly devastated amid the ashes of her shattered ambitions, and the dignity of the British monarchy was once again reinforced in the eyes of royal supporters around the world. Will Meghan accept this humiliating defeat and retreat into the shadows after being completely abandoned by both the public and the royal family? Or will this mark the beginning of an irreparable fracture within her own marriage in Montecito? Share your thoughts with us in the comment section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.